Today was the first time I've ever seen my dad cry. He doesn't want me to tell you all that, but he got caught in 4K. You know, he thinks he's so hard, but you know, it's not. So thank you guys. I mean, you believed in me from the beginning. I've been coming to this tournament. My dad took me to this tournament, sitting right there watching Venus and Serena compete. So it's really incredible to be on this stage.
Netflix just made a $58 million investment in Coco Gauff. A 7-episode documentary series with unrestricted access is also driving the tennis world wild. The kind of money that unnerves sponsors and makes agents jealous. But nobody is talking about the subject. It's not tennis anymore. This is about something far more important, and it will change the way we think about athletes forever. Before we go into the details, kindly let me know in the comments. Is there just too much hype too fast, or do you suddenly think Coco Gauff is the most marketable athlete under 25? In this place, let's be honest. When you hear $5.8 million for a documentary series, the first thing that usually springs to mind is why. After all, we have witnessed her play tennis. Her success has been documented on Instagram. We go after her. What more is there to know, really? False. Consequently, completely false. Because Netflix doesn't write checks with a lot of zeros unless they have information that we don't. They're also aware that Coco Gauff's story involves more than just backhands and trophies. It discusses how a generation's views on sports, celebrity, and what it means to be young and under pressure in 2025 have evolved. To be honest, the offer itself is kind of ridiculous when you break it down. Netflix executives looked at a 20-year-old tennis champion and said, "Yeah, let's bet nearly $6 million that people will care enough to watch 7 full episodes about her life." That carries a significant danger. You make that kind of investment when you are certain you have struck gold. Additionally, it appears that the streaming giant received exclusive behind-the-scenes films, private family moments, never-before-seen training sessions, and emotional breakdowns that Coco herself undoubtedly wishes had kept private. But isn't that the whole idea? Because you want the millions, you give them access. Without a question, fair trade may be obtrusive. Profitable, of course. Let's talk about episode 1 now, since it shows how well Netflix understands storytelling. They won't start with Wimbledon 2019 or a Grand Slam victory. Like tiny Coco playing on public courts with huge rackets, they're going all the way back to the early days. The type of video that informs you that champions don't come from wealthy families. Occasionally, they are born into typical communities to parents who sacrificed all for an unreachable goal. According to sources, the documentary series shows tiny Coco genuinely believing she would be the best one in the end, her dad working multiple jobs, and her mom managing schedules like a military operation. That is not the haughtiness of a 5-year-old. It's a prophecy. Furthermore, Netflix understands the importance of content in relation to streaming subscriptions.
Honestly, thank you to the people who didn't believe in me. I mean, like a month ago, I won a 500 title, and people said I would stop at that. 2 weeks ago, I won a 1,000 title, and people were saying that was the biggest it was gonna get. So 3 weeks later, I'm here with this trophy right now. You know, I tried my best to carry this with grace, and I've been doing my best. So honestly, to those who thought who were putting water on my fire, you're really adding gas to it. And now I'm really burning so bright right now.
However, this is where things start to get interesting. And by intriguing, I mean a little awkward. Her 15-year-old Wimbledon breakthrough is covered in episode 2. I assume you recall that.
It's a dream debut for the 15-year-old.
After the world saw this teenage defeater, everyone wanted a piece of Venus Williams' story, but Netflix reveals that no one knew this. Coco was in danger of missing the competition. She was so overcome with self-doubt that she questioned whether she was ready.
Think about that.
The match that changed a 15-year-old's career almost didn't happen because of her fear. It's the most relatable part of the entire documentary series, to be honest. Despite the fact that millions of people watch these athletes on international television, they are just people dealing with the same fears that we all have, despite the fact that we view them as superhumans. Episode 3 of the documentary series appears to be somewhat unvarnished. By raw, I mean that you might wish to keep raw tissues on hand. The cost of celebrity is the subject of this episode, which may seem dramatic until you think about what it actually means for a teenager. Coco went from living a rather normal life to being a global celebrity overnight. That kind of whiplash breaks people. The constant travel, the media attention, the social media, and the animosity from people who have never touched a tennis racket yet feel qualified to critique every move she makes. There are reportedly instances on Netflix where young Coco is alone in hotel rooms, exhausted and questioning whether it was all worthwhile. They show the mental health issues she concealed. Because expressing a struggle feels like admitting weakness in a sport where perfection is demanded. This episode will undoubtedly change conversations around youth sports and mental health. In episode 4, the transformation occurs. At this time, Coco changes from a talented teenager to a genuine danger. Tennis enthusiasts will lose themselves in Netflix's meticulous depiction of her growth. They describe how she turned her forearm from a weakness into a strength. They show how she became a strong opponent through rigorous training sessions, tactical adjustments, and mental conditioning. And this is what may irritate certain individuals. They show how becoming champions requires intense, almost unreasonable amounts of effort. It's not particularly motivating. Most of us are unwilling to do things that way, but this is what it really calls for, which makes it inspiring. That degree of candor can be either exhilarating or degrading, depending on your perspective. The 5th episode contains the winning lap. This essentially means that she won the Grand Slam title with a movie that probably cost more than some independent productions. In the locker room right before the final, Netflix totally committed to the footage. Fear and resolve were evident in her eyes. Whisper the coach's advice. The entire game was edited in a suspenseful manner. The emotional payoff is different when she wins and falls to her knees following that final point if you had watched the first 4 episodes. You're seeing more than just an athlete win a tournament. You are seeing the outcome of years of adversity, uncertainty, stress, and steadfast trust. It will be perfect, and it's the best type of deceitful filmmaking. However, episode 6 makes clear how valuable Coco is to Netflix. It's more than just tennis these days. In this episode, she is portrayed as a cultural leader, a representative of her generation, and someone who uses her position to promote causes more important than awards. They go with her to philanthropic events, school visits, and social justice campaigns. They show her talking in an authentic, unscripted manner on equality, mental health, and self-belief. The strategic genius is located here. Beyond simply documenting her athletic career, Netflix is doing more. Instead of just covering matches, they're helping to build her reputation as a tennis player and global influencer. That link is longer and more profitable. In episode 7, everything comes together and the future is set up. This includes her recent rise to the top of the world rankings in 2025, which many viewers will remember witnessing firsthand. Netflix, however, offers context that was previously absent. They provided insight into the causes of her late-season dominance, the relationships she put on hold, the sacrifices she made, and the total abandonment of her everyday life. In the last moments of the program, Coco also sits down for what is described as an intensely emotional interview in which she opens up about everything. As her voice breaks and she battles tears, she basically admits that the journey has been harder than anyone understands. However, since there isn't really an ending, she isn't done yet. It's the perfect ending. The fact that her tale is still being written wonderfully raises the prospect of a second season, if this one goes well. A really strong plot, clever business, and a bit cynical execution. Now, let's respond to the obvious query. Is Coco Gauff worth $5.8 million? Of course. From Netflix's perspective, they are not buying a sports documentary. They are buying a multi-generational story about a young Black woman who becomes one of the most famous athletes in the world while maintaining her sincerity and groundedness. That story is well known worldwide. That story appeals to even non-tennis fans. The media attention, social media engagement, and subscriptions that story produces cannot be bought with advertising. From a business standpoint, Netflix probably struck a decent bargain. But here's what really makes this deal compelling. It represents a significant shift in how we consume sports media. We used to only watch athletes compete. Right now, we want everything. The journey of mental health, the relationships with family, the training, the failures, and the individual difficulties. Such access would have been unthinkable 20 years ago. Sportsmen like Coco are willing to give such access because the financial and promotional opportunities are too good to pass up. Yes, it is a trade, but everyone involved benefits from it. Interesting content is acquired by Netflix. Viewers have a unique perspective on what it really takes to succeed. Even though Coco gets paid and gains more notoriety abroad, it's crucial to take the date of this documentary series into account. Coco, who is 20 years old, already has enough content for 7 episodes. You may find something amazing or frightening, depending on your point of view. On the one hand, compared to most athletes throughout the course of their careers, she has accomplished more before reaching legal drinking age. However, the level of stress and intensity at such a young age raises questions regarding sustainability and long-term well-being. However, those questions are unlikely to be answered because Netflix did not fund this documentary series. They covered the costs of the triumphant climb, the inspirational moments, the emotional victories, and the challenging questions of whether we should have high expectations for young athletes too soon. That documentary is appropriate for a different era. This documentary series will undoubtedly have an impact on young athletes' perceptions of themselves and others. After seeing Coco's narrative, children will understand that skill is not enough for success. They will see the worthwhile sacrifices, hardships, uncertain times, and unwavering work ethic. But they will also see the rewards, the money, the celebrity, the recognition on a global scale, and the chance to make a difference. Additionally, some people will decide that the trade-off is beneficial, while others will realize that they don't want to be under such pressure. Both responses are valid. Beyond tennis, or even sports in general, this accord has cultural repercussions. Coco Gauff is a representation of something bigger. Young people who use their platforms for advocacy feel comfortable being vulnerable in public, think that mental health is just as essential as physical health, and won't play when they have something to say. That may or may not be inspiring, depending on your perspective, but that is definitely how culture is changing. Furthermore, Netflix's awareness of this trend and the millions of dollars it spent on documentation show that they are aware of the way viewers are going. It's also crucial to remember that this documentary series will inevitably be compared to previous sports movies like The Last Dance and Drive to Survive. They set the standard for producing sports content that appeals to audiences outside of the conventional sports fan base. The question is whether Coco's tale has the same broad appeal. Michael Jordan became well-known throughout a number of decades. Globally, there was competition and interest in Formula One. Although Coco is a youthful, authentic, and culturally significant character, they may be just as fascinating if Netflix does a good job. Furthermore, it is clear from the $5.8 million budget that they plan to carry out pretty successfully. As a result, Netflix bet heavily on Coco Gauff. They will probably win that bet, to be honest. The 7 episodes that follow her rise change our expectations for sports content and how we view young athletes. If you've read this far, please click the like and subscribe buttons because there will be more. Leave a comment with your sincere thoughts. Does this documentary need to be seen, or is it overexposed?